Hey guys, this is Gentleman Dan doing a review for rcspeak.com on the SimStick. SimStick, very simply, is a device used to turn your Phoenix simulator into a wireless system. Idea being that traditionally with Phoenix, and I've got my laptop set up here with Phoenix connected, you have the Phoenix cable connected to your USB port and then connected to your transmitter. Here I have my DX7 that I use and a helicopter that's set up, and of course using my transmitter you control the helicopter in all of its flight modes, and you can play the simulator and learn how to fly. Now the idea is that you can take this transmitter and your computer and have them connected, but have them connected wirelessly with the SimStick. The basic idea is that you can now take this SimStick connected to the Phoenix interface, but have your remote control not be connected by a wire. So if you want to hook up your laptop to a flat screen TV or anything like that, you can do it and not have to be connected by the wire, which is only about 4 or 5 feet long, and not have to be chained to your computer per se. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out of its package. I'm going to read the instructions, get it connected, and then give you a review on it. So once again, Gentleman Dan doing a review on the SimStick for rcspeak.com. Alright guys, well, looking at the instructions here for the SimStick, the first thing that they're telling you to do is have a compatible receiver that you're going to use. One of the things that makes this worthwhile is that there are now these clone Spektrum receivers that are out there. I got this one online for $5 for an AR6100E N-pin clone. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to bind this to my transmitter in the same channel, in the same model memory that I was using for Phoenix, and then once I do that, I'm going to follow the directions to connect the SimStick, and then we're going to go from there. So what you're going to need is a spare receiver, an ESC, and a battery, a LiPo, so that you can bind the receiver. You don't need a model for this, you just need these couple pieces, and then the receiver is actually going to plug into the back of the SimStick, and we're going to go from there. So this is the next step. Alright, the next step gone over by the instructions is to, of course, bind your receiver to your radio, which I've done. And what you do very simply is on the back of the SimStick is the port for the receiver. Now it shows very clearly that the battery pins here on the end don't go into the slots. So using one of these receivers, it's actually pretty simple to have that last set hang over, and you plug the receiver directly in to the SimStick. And that's pretty much all you need to do to connect the receiver. Now what you then do is you take your Phoenix cable, what would usually go into the transmitter, plug it in to the little port here that's on the back as well, and then you take the USB port of the Phoenix simulator, and you plug that into the USB port on the SimStick. Sorry, doing this one hand. So that's basically what you have now is your receiver's plugged into the SimStick. It powers it, gives it power, and then with Phoenix logged on and ready to go, you take the whole little deal and you plug it into your computer, into the USB port. Now, if you've done everything correctly, your radio's on and your light's on your receiver, and you're connected. And sure enough, you now have wireless control over the simulator. Now what I did have to do though is I had to go into the functions for Phoenix, I had to go into system, I had to go into transmitter and your controls, and what I did is I made a copy of my DX7 menu. I did DX7 copy, and then I did edit, and when I went into edit, it gave you the control board, and what I had to figure out is the fact that for some reason the SimStick kind of messed with the controls and the channels were not assigned like they were supposed to. So hopefully you've had the opportunity to go into Phoenix and change the control settings. I found that my throttle, for example, had to end up being changed to channel 5, the collective pitch also with channel 5 to allow it to use or not use idle up or whatever. I found that cyclic pitch or forward and back was channel 3. Cyclic roll or right or left aileron turned out to be channel 1, and tail rotor or tail of the helicopter turned out to be channel 4. So this is with my DX7, and in the controls you can see that when I move the throttle, both the throttle and the collective pitch go up. When I move the rudder moves. This is just basic programming stuff, but it took a couple of minutes to try to figure out which were which. Because it wasn't intuitive, and of course the channels that I'm used to using on the DX7 didn't really match up with what the SimStick did. So apparently when you plug the system together and you get this all going, you have to reassign the channels, and that's why I did a new transmitter memory on this, and did it as a DX7 copy for me, a little blurry. And then when I was all done and I restarted the simulator, everything works just fine. So that's what I'm going to do to show you, and I'm going to try to get it on my bigger TV. But there is the SimStick ready to go, no longer connected to my transmitter, and as you can see, sitting kind of a little bit farther away. Give it some throttle, take off, and fly. Now I'm trying to do this one hand, so I'm going to crash, of course. But definitely something that's really cool, because you have the ability now with no wires and your transmitter, so it not connected in any way. You can now sit there and sit back and pass a transmitter off to somebody and not have to worry about the wire or anything else. And I think this is pretty darn neat. What I'm going to try to do is hook it up to my flat screen TV and be able to sit across the room and be able to do it. Now, of course, you're going to need to be able to, get to the computer, and if you want to change models and do all that kind of stuff, you can't do that wirelessly, of course. You're only controlling the model from the transmitter, basically, to fly around. So here I'm going to fly around for half a second and then crash because I'm trying to do this all at once. But I think this is definitely a cool thing for anybody that really wants to have their DX7, DX6i, DX5, any of the transmitters that you set up for Phoenix specifically, be able to work wirelessly. And if you have a big flat screen TV and you want to have some people over who are into RC and you want to fly some stuff, this allows you to pass a transmitter around the room and do basically whatever you want from wherever you want. You can have one person controlling the models or the scenery. Only drawback to the whole system that I can see is that you need a spare receiver to do it. Now, with receivers only being a few dollars, this shouldn't be that big of a deal. I'm one of these people that I use every receiver I have and set up all my airplanes at once, but having a spare receiver was something I did have and was able to use it. Basically just bind the receiver to the transmitter, just using an ESC and a LiPo, and you're done. Don't need it anymore. The SimStick powers the receiver, as you can see. As a matter of fact, when you turn off your transmitter, the receiver powers down. So if you have a dedicated computer that you use for the simulator all the time, you theoretically could leave this plugged in, and what I tried and works is that here I go, I'll turn the transmitter back on, and sure enough, receiver powers up, Phoenix accepts it, and you're ready to fly. So all in all, a really, really cool product. I believe the product is only $30 or $40, and it will allow you some freedom to be able to fly your models or do something on a bigger screen if you connect your computer to a large screen TV and be able to fly wirelessly and not have those constraints. Now, of course, you're going to run into using your transmitter more and possibly running the battery down. I have a LiPo in my DX7, and it will basically run for hours and hours, which is good. And of course, because the SimStick and the receiver are powered off of your laptop, you don't need a LiPo to run any of that. So basically, just as long as you have power in your transmitter, you're good to go. So I want to say thanks to the guys at A-Main Hobbies for getting this to us. the guys on RC Speak, Getting Dirty, and Airwolf for getting this to me for review. I think it's a terrific product. I think it's going to be cool for a lot of people. I understand that they're coming out with a Futaba version here shortly, and that will allow people with Futaba radios who want to use Phoenix to be able to do the same thing and plug in their receivers and use their radios. So, pretty cool product. Very easy to set up. Really, the only complicated part was reassigning the channels on the on Phoenix itself. It took all of about 5 minutes to figure out. Within a total of 10 minutes from opening the package to putting this all together, I had this going, and I'm ready to fly and use all of my different airplanes and stuff that I've downloaded, and all the helicopters as well. So, cool product. If you use Phoenix or any of the simulators that this works on a lot, this is probably a must-have for you, and not a lot of money to get, and very easy to deal with. So, I want to say thanks again to the guys at RC Speak for hooking me up with this and let me try it out. And I will talk to you guys later on my next review. Gentleman Dan signing off.